Well, here we are then. Champions, welcome back to the Paladins Invitational here at Hi-Rez Expo of 2017, presented to you by Twitch Prime. Of course, for the third day in a row, my name is Vox, joined here by Hi-Rez Krat. It's good to be back with you, buddy, for the second semi-final set of the day.
That's right. It's going to be an exciting set as we see online favorite and my favorite to win the tournament, Burrito, going up against Matchpoint, who is #1 seed out of North America, but given their performance since D69, the cards are stacked against them.
Certainly is the case, although I think we can consider them everybody's favorites, especially themselves here today.
Yeah.
They're very popular among social media, they have a great streaming presence, and they are a lovely bunch of people. But this isn't about personalities, this is about gameplay here today. So, as you said, Burrito versus District 69. There's a lot on the line potentially here, but before we do bring you through to the meat of it all with the map drafting and the gameplay itself, for all of you watching on twitch.tv/Paladins Game today, 9K of you at my last count, which is absolutely incredible. I want to give a little something back to you whilst we can. We now have Twitch linking enabled on the Paladins Game channel. So if you want a chance at winning some awesome in-game loot just for watching the stream, all you have to do is link your Twitch and your Hi-Rez accounts together, and you can do this by visiting Twitch, or excuse me, hirezstudios.com/link.
That's right, and we also have a HRX digital loot pack available in the Paladins client that you can check out that has some pretty cool skins and other items to commemorate this event. We've got the Convention 2017 Ying skin, and then an invitational, these are limited time only, invitational Fernando and Victor. They come with MVP poses, and you also get sprays, which is pretty sweet if you want to spice up your game. Yesterday we saw one of the players from Abyss using those sprays a lot after he got some pretty sweet kills.
Very regularly, and of course that will show up in the kill cam. Just to be clear, folks, those limited time skins are, well, available only for a limited time, so get them before the loot pack goes away. Make sure you can show off your support for the Paladins Esports team in-game to your friends and foes alike. And here we are then. Let's go over to the schedule to see how the first set of the day went earlier and to see what is yet to come.
Right, so we did see the 4-1 win coming out of District 69. Abyss had some great games, some amazing fans chanting out Grover. I was excited too. I was out there in the crowd just yelling Grover.
Yep. Oh, you can hear them again.
You can hear
them right now. And I was ecstatic. For any of you who have watched me stream at all, you always know that I like to close things out with a game Grover stream where we'll just play Aggression or Deft Hands Grover, and that's been a bit of an unpopular pick among teammates, but we've seen it working out so well here today.
For sure.
It's been brought into the forefront of the scene by the Oceanic team Abyss. North America and Europe, they're yet to really start to adapt it a great deal, more preferring the Ying and the Maldamba as their primary source of healing and their support champions. And well, it's time for Matchpoint to try and kick it up a notch. They've got to change something a little bit around to have an impact against the #1 European seed here and have a chance at bringing a non-European team into the finals. Maybe a Grover pick could be the way that they could do it.
I think the other option, right, is just that Matchpoint, right, they've got some amazing players. stolzey, a big streamer, known for his clutch and awesome plays at just the right time. And we didn't see that on Thursday. Straight up, stolzey was not the presence that we expected, but today, I really want to see what stolzey can do. So let's take a look at what stolzey's done so far and how he might approach this tournament going into the semifinals.
stolzey? Oh, he is one of the best players in the world. Yeah, he's that good. I think this entire team, Matchpoint altogether, is all the best players in the world. So we're just the best team in the world. Makes us #1.
He's a phenomenal player, and he's a great guy. I mean, I love him.
stolzey's mentality is he's calm all the time. He never gets too frustrated. He's always calm. He's always calling stuff out, trying to, get us hyped and make plays. Always trying to make plays.
He's good. He's a really good mechanical player, but I think that same mindset makes him more predictable as well.
Well, stolzey, the best player in the world. He said it on his YouTube, his Twitter. It must be true.
So what I think about stolzey is that, sure, he calls himself the best in the world. I think he doesn't believe that himself. I think he's just saying that, to get more attention, to get the community going, to get people talking about it too.
stolzey's role in the team is to be the carry role. He's to finish kills. He's to just kill them. we make room for him, and he can go off that room.
Yeah, like stolzey, he'll go and he'll get quadras, and you're like, where'd everyone go? You know, like me and 3 of my teammates are killing 1 person, so I was like, Dad, and we were like, oh, good job, stolzey, you know? It brings the firepower.
I think stolzey thinks too much of himself. He needs to step down for a bit. I mean, we need to bring him back to the earth.
Well, that was a little bit of information there for you all at home and here on the stage today about match points stolzey. But that's only one of the teams we've got playing today. Burrito will be their opponent. So they've been such a dominant force within the European scene online play. But there's one player that we do want to specifically highlight very shortly, that back after the DreamHack Founders Tournament, made a very big role swap from their damage role towards the front line, where they've been having such an impact during this tournament.
That's right. So Thiel, formerly playing one of the DPS and, you know, sort of flex DPS carry roles for Burrito, it just didn't seem to be working out for him. Made a switch to that hardcore frontliner, looking at the Fernandos and the Makoas, and he has been absolutely fantastic throughout the past few weeks of online play, and also here at the Hi-Rez Expo presented by Twitch Prime.
And it's that one champion which you mentioned, Makoa, which I think Thiel has really made a name for himself on very shortly, or through the duration of this tournament. He's been such incredible play, such incredible coordination, and well, for the time being, let's head over to a video and find out, well, what the rest of his teammates think about their superstar player.
Laizy definitely rides the Thiel piggyback. When Thiel's playing, you know, Fernando especially, he can really get in your face, get real annoying. When he's playing on those support roles, it seems like he babysits Laizy a lot more than the rest of the squad.
Thiel himself, he wanted to quit the game at one point.
Well, we do appear to be encountering a couple of technical difficulties. We'll have that video up and available for you shortly. But just between us then for a little while, let's talk some more about Thiel. DreamHack Founders Tournament back in the summer, we saw Thiel underperforming in his DPS role, but transitioning to a frontline sort of champion, the frontline player, that's a very big difference in playstyle, which he's had to adopt. More of a sort of in-your-face attitude to a behind-the-scenes attitude. But let's talk about the hide-and-seek elements, which we saw really coming into play yesterday, especially in that set versus Abyss.
Sure, we definitely saw these elements that Thiel was using, and actually, now that you mention it, WarDoom doing that too from Matchpoint on Thursday. But these players like to get behind the enemy lines, sneak their way in while they're still mounted, so they have that increased movement speed, and then come in from the flanks, come in from behind, and totally disrupt their opponents. It's very devastating when pulled off, but not guaranteed, right? You can get spotted out.
You can get spotted out, you can get dismounted, and with a player on both teams, with WarDoom and Thiel, both liking to play this hide-and-seek role, this pincer role from on the frontline champions coming from, well, the backline, which is never where you expect them to be. You're going to have to see how both these teams scout out their opponents and meet head-to-head when they do finally get to the objective fight. But we're about ready to head over to our map drafts. We're on best of 7 sets so far.
That's right, and in these best of 7 sets, teams still have the capability to ban maps. Fish Market and Timbermill will be taken off the table, so we won't see them today, which does mean that Ice Mines will be playable, and if the set is long enough, will be played.
And so let's talk a little bit about that Ice Mines dynamic. We've often seen Master Riding, an item in-game picked up, which increases your mount speed, utilized on the map Ice Mines to get behind enemy lines very quickly, to come up behind your opponents, which is a fantastic way to play these flanking frontliners. And this is definitely something which I expect to see coming out, but of course, Ice Mines may not be the first map up. Let's head over to our map screen and find out what the first draft will be.
Let's take a look. I'm hoping for Serpent Beach, but no, I'm gonna get Frog Isle. Not too bad anyway. Frog Isle is an interesting map because it's a nice middle ground between one of the more flavorful maps that's a little bit different from the standard like Serpent Beach, but it's not that far off in comparison to something like Frozen Guard or Ice Mines.
And it does have a wide open area. It's a bowl-shaped map. We discussed this a little bit yesterday as well. You have your objective in the center, a lot of areas around the outside where you want to focus fire down at the frontline champions, trying to hold down the objective for your team, which means you either need a lot of sustain to be able to withstand that pressure or a great deal of shielding. Notably, in the previous set between District 69 and Abyss, Abyss fared very, very well here, running some frontline, running some support, and just District 69 were unable to get them off the objective.
That's right. So, well, let's see who's going to be able to hold that objective down as we head into the draft. Remember, usually we see one of these teams looking for the hard and heavy frontliners. The first pick going the way of Matchpoint, hovering Grover. I think this one's for the fans. Traditionally, Fernando or Makoa will be picked here.
That's what you'd expect. Charlene is also hovered and locked in for Matchpoint. This is very peculiar, but we did see Burrito utilize Makoa and Charlene fantastically together yesterday. That dredge anchor into the planted from Charlene is a devastating combination. This does allow Burrito to draft 2 frontliners in a row here, looking like Fernando and Makoa will be the picks of choice.
Which means Matchpoint is likely going to be relying on Ruckus as a sole frontliner. We could see Barrack, but at this stage of the tournament, that would surprise me a little bit. I do like the Shaolin first pick, though. He does so much against tanks with that planted ability, but he has to watch out for Makoa and that dredge anchor.
So to do immobile implanted is Shaolin. Easy to focus down if you can withstand the heat coming out of all of those raining hail of arrows. Matchpoint do go into Ruckus, as you said there, Kret. They also draft Eevee, and I think the draft for Eevee was opened up by the Shaolin pickup first. We've seen Shaolin be such a good counter to Eevee throughout the duration of this tournament, and now the Winter Witch does enter the fray.
But the other big counter is Makoa. If you catch Eevee with that dredge anchor and Cassie and Androxus are in the area, your comms are good. The follow-up is going to be immediate, and Eevee will die. Barrack hovered on, will be locked in. Barrack is a very strong character when he is set up. He can drop 2 turrets, put up a shield, use rocket boots to survive. But when he's not in that case, he's got the lowest health of all the frontliners and is very bad at advancing to the point through enemy fire.
Burrito now on the right-hand side of your screen have completed that draft, finishing things off with Cassie, Androxus, and Maldamba. And let's talk about that double deployable dynamic of Matchpoint and why it was locked in as the final 2 picks for their team when there was only one last one available for Burrito. We know that Drogas, with their area damage coming from Fire Spit, is so useful for the AoE clear versus Barrack and Ying, but with no support locked in for Burrito, they're forced to draft Maldamba and don't have any area damage.
That's right. Now, Maldamba's Gourd technically does area damage. I think it might be able to kill a turret that is unmodified by cards over the full duration. So they're not completely hopeless, but it's going to be tough to disrupt all of those deployables. Let's head into the match and see what Matchpoint can do with this Barrack. stolzey on the first pick, Shaolin. Kusqt on Ying. WarDoom playing Barrack. Smidgen on Eevee. And doesupz on Ruckus.
Of course, the first seed coming out of Europe. Their opponents today, Burrito Esports, are led by Laizy on Cassie. Spunkki picks up Maldamba. Bird on Makoa. Thiel on the flanking. Fernando and bonkar. The substitute on Androxus. Additional point fight does break out. stolzey drops into planted. And onto the objective goes Ruckus. But Bird pulls out first blood.
WarDoom in a bit of trouble. He's getting low on health and not able to heal up substantially. Pulled in is Shaolin. He withdraws to safety but will die, and no kills have gone the way of Matchpoint just yet. Smidgen is alive now, but he already died to the first blood, and it's a full wipe. 5-4-0.
And we're seeing the deficit of this Barrack come into play now, relying on having some setup time on the objective. Master Riding is not coming into full effect just yet, which means that WarDoom is very vulnerable without turrets. But it's Bird who's making the plays. Currently with the dredge anchors to open things up. Retreats towards the backline as Kusqt has taken out the showstopper player Laizy. But Thiel is here to bridge in the gap.
And I want to point out specifically the Maldamba player as Ruckus is getting cleaned up. Eevee taking some damage. Fernando falls back. He actually does fall. I believe that's the second death for Burrito. But Burrito is still pushing forward. They're in a great position, and their Maldamba was just sitting on the point, sniping some heals, and just accruing some point time as everyone else zoned.
Laizy actually off the map there, impaled by stolzey over the wall. Bird will retreat after taking down WarDoom, but their shield won't last forever, and Matchpoint have now established a defense with Ruckus by the payload. Burrito Esports are going to have to look to take out this frontliner and take down doesupz if they don't want to deal with repulsor field during the next engagement.
But this is what Matchpoint is good at. They've got deployables, but the pull out of position could be bad. Ruckus uses advance twice to get back to the cart. A Cursed Arm comes out, it is dropped, and it's finding some good damage, but not good enough. Kusqt will get pulled, and that'll do it as he goes down, and now Burrito surges forward, looking for blood.
This opens up the pathway to conversion because Matchpoint have lost their frontliner. They've lost their support as well. Eevee, the flanker, about to go down, waiting for a headshot is bonkar, but they do miss the shots coming straight out of Ice Block, but still, Eevee now unable to contest the payload, and bonkar sitting at 5, 0, and 5 is rapidly heading out to zone and dismount their opponents as Matchpoint return from the spawn.
Matchpoint playing for late game can't lose anything here. They're going to use their ultimates to try and hold. Even if they lose the next capture point, I think that's okay, as long as they can hold the payload from converting and getting that advantage for Burrito. Burrito falling back.
And that was so important because Bird on Makoa now is able to make the dredge anchor plays. Stolzey takes out Laizy, so no more Cassie available. But again, Bird, it just isn't dying. Bonkar comes back in, slays doesupz, and WarDoom must retreat in front of this frontline pressure because Bird is back again looking for a dredge anchor potentially to send somebody off the map.
You know, Bird's not dying, but Bonkar's not dying either. 605, this sub has been going off all tournament, and it looks like he's going to keep doing that. Ancient Rage is used to clear out the area around the payload cart, but there's only 20 seconds left.
doesupz is brought towards the objective by Dredge Anchor. Repulsor Field, it is waited out, and now they're taking the full frontline force of the damage, but Laizy takes down WarDoom. doesupz can clean up Bird. No Makoa and no Dredge Anchor left for Matchpoint. This defense looks like it's going to be successful. stolzey, one more shot will seal the deal onto Laizy. Can't quite find the angle, but that is still a successful defense for Matchpoint. They're on the board.
I love the discipline from Burrito there. Not pushing forward, not trying to get the overtime, because look at the net worth. It's all Matchpoint up top, and I think this is a successful round one for them. And you might say, why is it successful? They lost the point. Well, they're looking to defend, they're looking for late game, and I think specifically, they're looking for itemization. Because Burrito's not going to itemize into Bulldozer. They're not going to be countering those deployables well, but Matchpoint, they're going to have Cauterize. They're going to have Record. They're going to start countering Burrito hard in the late game.
You can see that Kusqt for Matchpoint has picked up Cauterize 2, 60% healing reduction applied to all champions hit by Ying's mirror there. So that'll come into play with the frontliners trying to sustain with Spunkki behind playing the objective. Initial point fight will break out in round 2. Straight onto the objective will be Bird, met face to face with doesupz, and Thiel is looking like they're about to be chased down.
That's right, but doesupz can't quite get to the point. He might be able to find a kill here on a Cassie, but no, healed up. Dread Serpent comes out, and that's going to allow some quick kills for Burrito.
Smidgen blinks straight into the Dread Serpent as well, is feared away, and Burrito have cleaned up around the objective. Now Laizy is pushing forwards, looking for an avenue of entry towards the backline of their opponents, looking to poke out somebody, anybody, with the arrows coming from this crossbow.
This is expected though, right? Matchpoint is looking for the late game. They couldn't contest the first point, and I don't think enough has changed to allow them to contest the second. WarDoom in the front line, taken down by Thiel. Eevee on the point. They're just trying to farm and get credits. I don't think they've got a great shot of really contesting this and really going for the cap.
Ice Block will buy some time for the time being, and now on the objective will be doesupz on Ruckus, but they're getting chewed through by Bird. Dredge Anchor comes through, but no! Matchpoint bring themselves back into it. Hexafire, but doesupz is now available.
Woo!
But Matchpoint clean up entirely. 96% for Burrito, but the scoreboard is going all blue here.
That's right, they're going to start getting some point time after getting past the Burrito front line that was holding them off. Smidgen on Eevee is going to be great at disrupting here, but Bird has gotten close enough to the point that he could maybe start to make a play. Thiel charging in, the dome shield is dropped, and that's going to be hard to get into because that flamethrower turret hurts like hell.
Oh my goodness, though, Bonkar in the air uses a Cursed Arm, planted, not good enough to take him down, and now Laizy comes back to the fray as well. Watch for the stuns from Aldamba. Spunkki finds one, helps clean up, and Burrito White Matchpoint off the face of the map, get the capture, and now lead 2-1.
That's right, but what's important for Burrito is getting the conversion. They are up against the clock. Matchpoint has a great advantage in the late game, so they need to convert, they need to get that advantage, and they need to look to win next round, not the round after.
And stolzey is going to try and make the defense here on Charlene. Currently invisible, will potentially withdraw away from the objective just to stay alive. Bonkar misses the shot. stolzey cleans up the Androxus, saying, no, that's my champion. You can't have them. 370 HP HP, and still looking for the Impaler arrow, still looking for frags, but potential overextension from Matchpoint here if somebody gets picked off on the defense.
But it might be a potential overextension from Burrito as the support player falls, retreating his doesupz, but he's gonna die as well, and now they just need to make sure they're holding their ground intelligently. But Fernando is great at this. He's got deployables, Ying is setting up as well, and this corner is going to be very hard for Burrito to breach.
You've got to either deal with the source of the damage coming from these turrets, which is exactly what Bird is doing, or look for a pick onto the Barrack themselves. The Barrack isn't a priority target here. It is going to be Eevee coming out of Iceblock, who does blink away to safety, and now Bird has to deal with a ruckus right from their face behind a barricade, who's providing a lot of difficulty for Burrito. Immortal using the front line by Thiel allows Laizy to go in aggressively. Will he find a pick here? stolzey returns damage onto Thiel, and this is not looking too good for the side of Burrito Esports. Off the edge goes spunkki as well. stolzey plugs down, takes out Laizy, and this is looking good for the team in blue as Bird too will fall to 1 or 2 more arrows, but stolzey's missing shots.
He missed just one shot, but that was enough for Bird to find the kill. Nonetheless, Matchpoint has held, so while they lost that individual 1v1, maybe stolzey's pride is hurt a little bit. The defense is strong, the late game is strong, and they're looking for the 3-3 to win there.
Paladins is an objective game after all, and you need those objective points to be able to pull out a victory. Taking a death for your team at this level of play, whilst yes, it might have a little bit of an impact on pride and ego, is the right thing to do. And now we follow along with Smidgen, who's looking to engage onto the side of Burrito Esports in the backline, finds shots onto an airborne Androxus. Great play from Smidgen, and now it's withstanding all the damage coming through from both teams. doesupz has used Hexafire to try and stop the bleeding. Finds 1 kill, can they find a second? This is complete domination, annihilation for Matchpoint as they do clean up Burrito. Overtime ticks down, and another successful defense in a row.
doesupz is so dangerous on this ruckus. The 8 streak going on. He's got the most net worth in the game, beating out spunkki by 700. That's 2 items, right? That's big. So Matchpoint, now they're starting to get a chance. One more round of a defense like that, and I think it's going to be a shoe-in, or maybe they get the advantage here and look for the push.
Burrito Esports therefore desperately need to take this capture and take an advantage, looking for a conversion to end the game before it gets to late game and the full itemization comes on. They're electing to go into a lot of cauterize here to help augment this factor. Thiel notably as well, and Fernando can utilize that so well with Fireball, but will it make enough of a difference?
Well, we'll see as Matchpoint heads out. They do have 2 ultimates on the board against 2, so it's a fairly even fight, but I think Burrito has the advantage in which ultimates are up. Smidgen blinks in, drops the Ice Storm, but it's onto the support. Dread Serpent coming out, and they are able to convert a kill onto Barrack.
And Laizy's going to look for a second kill into Ying, who does Dimensional Link to safety for the time being. It's a Bow Brothers duel in the back line. stolzey getting the better of that trade, forcing Laizy out for the time being, who is very susceptible to be assassinated by Smidgen, but Bird will take out doesupz on the back end of this fight. No more ruckus, no more repulsor field available to Matchpoint, and potential advantage coming through for Burrito as Dome Shield is dropped, protecting nobody, only
No, protecting 2 turrets. That is important here because Barrack's turrets are almost as good as a player as long as they're staying alive. Ancient Rage dropped here, and now Bird is looking for damage. He's looking to clear out those turrets, and WarDoom will fall.
And ultimately, that's what it comes down to. Those turrets were helping out a lot with damage, but in the face of Ancient Rage, the cleave damage from Makoa that hits so many opponents at once, including those deployables, you can't help but fall. The respawns come through, but too little too late. Burrito for the 3rd round in a row captured the objective, but can they make the difference and achieve a successful push here, or will they fall to the defense once again?
If they can keep putting Matchpoint back into their spawn, they could definitely find an advantage here. But the question is, can Matchpoint get themselves back in order and mount a successful defense? It's not looking good as Burrito is pushing forward and trying to stop Matchpoint from even leaving their spawn room doors.
One thing is for sure, if you want to get through Burrito Esports frontline, you do have to now deal with Bird on Makoa. WarDoom takes 2 headshots in a row, is very low on HP, up from above. bonkar trying to find the shots over the barricade, but cannot find the damage to acquire a kill. Will be retreating and at last taken down by Kusqt on Ying, but still the payload advances. Matchpoint have to put up a defense here. And at last, we see doesupz on Ruckus try to get in the way of this push and buy some time for their team because Burrito is so low, but they're just not dying.
That's right, they're not low enough. WarDoom and doesupz back in the fray, but the tanks, they're healthy. Cassie looking for kills, and Burrito have pushed so far in their first minute and a half that's going to be very difficult for Matchpoint to hold.
Support down, frontline down in the form of Ruckus. Well impaled is Laizy, but no stun acquired. Off the map goes stolzey. No, does manage to stay on still, but is taken out by a blast shot auto cancel combo by Laizy. Close to conversion now. WarDoom goes down as well. This is looking like it's all Burrito's game.
Keep your eye on the ball. The payload cart goes in. It will be a win, and Matchpoint was unable to hold in that third round because Burrito pushed so far forward, they could never build a successful defense.
And one thing I do have to ask you is at the end we saw WarDoom come out of base, go separate from their team, take a couple of headshots from Androxus, and therefore was unable to provide a solid form of frontline in the form of their barricade to the rest of the team, who maybe should have been dealing with more priority targets instead of going out of a very strange position.
You know, I want to say this was a pocket strat, and I feel like it almost worked, right? If they held that round, they had a very good chance at going up against the final capture point and getting some wins, but Burrito responded perfectly there because they pushed so far forward. They fought 4v5 as Makoa was just sitting on the cart, and they had Matchpoint completely off balance.
And I do have to ask you, if you have that much frontline in your face as Matchpoint versus Burrito, how do you deal with all that pressure?
You shoot them in the face and try and get them to go away, I guess. But the thing was, usually you see spunkki, the one standing on the point, 241 objective time, right? That's huge. That's like 5 minutes? That's 5 minutes. That's a lot of time, right? But in that case, Burrito was on the point, spunkki was pushing forward, so he was helping out with the healing, and then Burrito was sort of playing a guerrilla warfare style, right? You have 2 people go up a zone, then they run away on the corner, get healed up, 2 more people go in, and Matchpoint just couldn't get it together.
And it does feel like spunkki played such a pivotal role in that game with over 107,000 healing to their name, who just was unstoppable despite the cauterizers coming through from Matchpoint. That's not a detriment to Matchpoint at all, though. Let's take a look at the showstopper player themselves. At the top of the scoreboard, stolzey on Xiaolin, trying to carry their team to victory. Picked up 106,000 damage on the Desert Wind champion, but that's just not enough to pull through all of that sustain still.
You know, I think it might be enough to warrant the first pick, though, right? I mean, 106K, that is a ton. It is 20,000 more than Laizy and bonkar, who both did very, very well for Burrito, but stolzey was on this game. He needs to stay doing this, and his team needs to change it up, because really, the Barrack Ruckus was too difficult to pull off.
If there was a different pick then that you might have wanted to see instead of Barrack that could have better helped augment the draft from Matchpoint, is there anything that comes to mind?
I mean, maybe they could go for the single tank Ruckus with Maldamba or something like that, and then get some more backline damage with, you know, like an assault rifle character that can shoot from really long range.
Oh, Tyra.
Yeah, like Tyra.
Yeah, absolutely. The newest champion to the realm. I think I heard a shout from Victor from the crowd, likely coming from Team Eager's Spidey, who has been really trying to reinforce that champion as at the forefront of the competitive scene for many, many months now. So potentially more damage could have been the solution, but it's a new draft, a new map coming up next. What's it gonna be?
Yeah, that's a good question, because honestly, that Matchpoint strategy might have worked on anything but Frog Isle. Frog Isle is very hard to defend on, right? Jaguar Falls, though, it also has a short payload route.
It certainly does, and actually Jaguar Falls is where we saw Barrack utilize a lot during online competitive play a few months ago. Yes, Barrack has seen some slight adjustments since then, but it was really where we started to see Dome Shield Barrack's ultimate specifically come into play, because we do have narrow corridors on this map, and that big bubble with a flamethrower turret inside locks off so much space in just one ability.
That's right. It's incredibly powerful because it's a 20,000 health shield. It takes a lot to carve through. Not only that, if you want to just ignore it and walk past it like you do with most other shields, there's a flamethrower turret that does a ton of damage inside, but it's only going to hit you when you're inside that bubble.
Ooh, hot plays coming through if you want to walk through that bubble. Also, talking about Jaguar Falls, we do have some areas around the objective, little nooks and crannies where there are walls that block line of sight damage from coming through, which are perfect for Barrack and Ying to both place deployables around. So potentially Matchpoint strategy might come back into play here. Burrito, they're going to be expecting that. Now, We don't know who's first pick just yet, but is there anything that you think Burrito might want to take away from match point to prevent that from happening?
Honestly, no. I think Burrito learns fast enough that they can deal with that strategy if it happens again. I mean, these guys, they're so smart. Bird, one of their players, used to be a Smite coach for Titan in the first World Championships. That dude, he's so smart. He's going to know these drafts. He's going to figure out what these strategies are faster than, you know, anyone else who's watching, right? And so, I don't know. I think you have to either change it up or play standard, because if you're trying to surprise your opponents, it's not going to work twice.
No, it certainly won't be the case, at least with the draft coming up. But the first pick, Xiaolin, you mentioned that was very much warranted going over to stolzey on a compact map like Jaguar Falls, where frontline is so pivotal and frontline is so important. Do you potentially expect that first pick, Xiaolin, to come out again, or are we going to see further prioritization towards frontline?
I think they have to give WarDoom what he wants, right? WarDoom is a very, very good frontline player. We've seen him do some amazing work on Makoa and Fernando. So get him a frontline that he wants, because stolzey Xiaolin is fantastic, but he should be able to play other characters at a similar level.
And he certainly can. Cassie and Androxus, also notable names that stolzey has picked up in competitive play, even in this tournament. And so let's head through to the draft for this second game on Jaguar Falls to find out what the Godslayer or the God stolzey will pick up with their second pick. But Burrito, they're going for Makoa first yet again.
Yeah, Makoa first pick seems to be the thing that teams are looking at right now, especially because of the way that it can counter very difficult to otherwise deal with characters such as Eevee. Fernando here drafted, and Xiaolin, so stolzey's going to get his wish.
Certainly will for the time being. Xiaolin still yet to be locked, but likely to go through to the star player of match point yet again. Burrito, they could draft a Ruckus here, but no, they're going for more damage instead. Cassie is picked up for the second game in a row for Burrito, valuing that pick, and this is surprising. Previously, we've seen so much value on you draft Makoa, and then Ruckus and Maldamba getting your frontline and support online, but instead it's Cassie and Androxus to supplement this draft.
And, you know, we've talked about matchpoint star player stolzey. We've said his name a lot, but really what's amazing about Burrito is they've got 3 star players right now. You've got Bird, who can do so much on a wide variety of champions, especially his Ruckus is quite good, but he's great on so many things. Bonkar is absolutely unstoppable on that Androxus, and he's performed very well this tournament, also with a great Kinessa. But you know, when you talk about great Kinessas, it's Laizy, right?
It certainly is. However, Matchpoint are finishing off their draft very shortly, picking up Eevee and Ruckus so far. So we're getting that double frontline duo for Matchpoint. Maldamba then is stripped away from the team on the right-hand side of your scoreboard. That is going to likely go to spunkki yet again, who's been so fantastic with their hit scan heals, which will nicely augment Drogo's the ability to keep him alive in the air is going to be so valuable here. You
know, we haven't seen Drogo's for quite some time. In the past, it's been Bird who's played a lot of that, so maybe we'll see him on it again. But the 3 carries for Burrito, they'll just swap characters like crazy. I don't actually know how they decide who gets to play what. Do they Rochambeau? I'm not sure.
Coin flip, maybe? I mean, there are 3 of them, so Rochambeau seems like the
Are
most
they
suitable
allowed
way.
to coin flip on stage?
I don't know. Maybe they have a dice they can roll as well.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we are going to see Ying and Maldamba again, and spunkki on this Maldamba puts out so much healing, and it's all about that amazing aim and awesome mechanics that allow him to make this healer really shine.
It certainly is, and hitting Drogo's in midair, as mentioned earlier, is going to help keep the greedy alive whilst airborne utilizing thrust, especially since they will be coming under focused fire from Xiaolin and Ruckus. I do like drafting Androxus early in this case if Burrito were going to go into a Drogo's all along, because it takes away the potential airborne counter. The Lord of the Skies Androxus themselves that has a very easy time dealing with Drogo's because they're hit scan weapon shots. But Drogo's hasn't been seen for such a long time in competitive play, only a couple of times earlier in the group phase. We'll have to see how the top team of Burrito does fare with them as they pull them out, and let's get straight into game.
That's right. It will be Bird on that Drogoz. Thiel playing Makoa. Bonkar yet again on Androxus. And Laizy playing the Cassie.
Of course, their opponents match point have doesupz once again on Ruckus. Kusqt still sticking with Ying. WarDoom this time on Fernando. Smidgen on Eevee. And stolzey back on that carry of Shaolin. Fire spit pressure gets thrown out by Bird. It's already starting to come into play. First blood though does go through to stolzey.
And that fire spit pressure is going to be instrumental to split up and set match point off balance. Otherwise, WarDoom is just going to hold the front line, but he actually falls to Bonkar, who is traded out by Smidgen. stolzey's still alive, but it's a pull, and now Eevee in a bit of trouble. She'll be able to escape.
Not too much trouble. Blink was available off cooldown, so able to get out of Ice Block and fly to safety very, very quickly. Bird looking for some flank pressure now on Drogoz. Capture control that went initially to match point is now being earned back by Burrito Esports. doesupz is in a bit of trouble here, taking a lot of focus fire around the corner.
You can tell when Burrito feels comfortable going in because spunkki will stand on the point, and that's exactly what he was doing there. WarDoom trying to reestablish the front line as Bird backs off, and now stolzey, he's got Slither, he's going to use it to get away, and match point are going to have pressure on this objective yet again.
They are, but what I love that Burrito did there was withdraw from the objective before they got forced off by match point. Not allowing their players to fall is so important here because we see Laizy going into the backline on Cassie, boxing out 1 versus 2, finding damage onto Eevee, looking for Smidgen in the backline, has dodge roll available to get out if Eevee blinks in, and she does, finding even more pressure now onto Kusqt inside these caverns. Laizy picks up yet another kill, looking for a double here as they pluck WarDoom out of the skies, and with Scout available, they scout out their enemies, and the objective will be captured by Burrito.
It is now time for match point to hold yet again. They have yet to take an objective in this series. So match point need to establish pressure around these choke points, but getting pulled out of position is a huge detriment and can really disrupt their defense.
Match point do have the stronger defense. If we put frontline to frontline, 2-1 is definitely a numbers advantage there. But as he said, the plays will come down to whether Laizy can get into the backline as Cassie, or whether on Makoa, Thiel can find that all-important dredge anchor. But look at this, Laizy in the base finds doesupz from behind. Now looking for another one, is trying to put some arrows into Ying. Kusqt could get shut down, as could Eevee in mid-air if Laizy can find the shots, but he just can't find the damage, but will still escape to safety. The pressure is there, the damage has been done for match point, but they do respond. Smidgen takes out Cassie and buys time for their team.
That's right, so match point is going to have some time to hold their front line, and while this is happening, the payload cart does actually slowly roll backwards. It is important that Burrito gets back on it before it's pushed all the way back out of that choke point, or that push really didn't do anything. On the other hand, match point need to watch out for Laizy, who's just sneaking around.
Laizy has been spotted out by Smidgen's Eevee, however, and is now looking for a flank. Nice impale onto Bonkar. Planted follow-up is good. Doesn't find a kill. Dragon Punch comes through from Bird, but it's a little bit too late because Immortal was used by Fernando, keeping the team alive. No one-shot KO, but now the fire spit pressure comes out. No! Hold that thought. Match point, they are still in control, shutting down all opponents in front of them. stolzey, 1 more arrow, 2 more arrows maybe, might pick up Thiel, and the planted will help secure it in combination with WarDoom's Fernando. Great hold from the team in red.
40 seconds left, and the payload cart is close, but not close enough. Spunkki could be in trouble. His mobility is relatively low on this character, but it seems like he's going to have enough people returning that he's safe. WarDoom pushes forward, and doesupz holds the cart, and oh no, pulled out of position and taken down immediately. I didn't know Ruckus could die that fast.
He can if you got focus fire coming through from Laizy. That dodge roll bonus damage, all commanded shot coming out of the Hunter Tortoise crossbow is very deadly indeed. Can be cancelled out as well to be paired with a blast shot for a massive amount of burst damage. And now we're looking at Smidgen to try and take down Cassie to hold this defense. stolzey cleans up the kill. The setup coming from the Winter Witch. Hexafire used as well by doesupz as they pick up a double kill in the backline. Triple kill for doesupz, and that is the successful hold for match point. 1-1 on the scoreboard so far.
You know, usually we would say having to use Hexafire to hold is detrimental, but Burrito doesn't have any ultimates. It's actually only Smidgen who has an ultimate available. Now the credits are in favor of match point. Generally, when defending, you're going to get more credits because they're running into you, and you're hopefully killing them more than they're killing you.
That's right, and you can see that credit prioritization is being used by match point to go into a lot of defensive items here. Only 1 cauterized 2 on the board going over to Kusqt, but Haven 2 for that 20% damage reduction from direct attacks on 4 members of match point. They're going to be very tanky going into this next engagement.
That's right, and I think they feel safe from Bird. And while that fire spit is dangerous, he's vulnerable when he goes up in the air, and when he's in the air, that's when Drogoz does the real damage. But moving to the objective is match point, and moving around the side is Thiel, who already gets poked out a fair bit.
Getting shut down from another payload arrow in their dome shield. Thiel is now nice and healthy again, very quickly can fend off the attack from Smidgen, but watch out, Smidgen is still here looking for frags on the back line, trying to find an angle onto the enemy team. Ice Storm goes over so many in the caves. Bird gets taken out of the skies as well. Crippled is spunkki, almost shut down, but bonkar comes to the rescue. Thiel barely survives the impaler arrow, not going over the edge, and does advance towards stolzey, but Burrito are one by one being taken down. Thiel with no ancient rage here, only has 600 HP left, will likely fall, and this is looking good for match point, but the respawns are starting to trickle back.
That's right, bonkar that entire time was just standing behind people and shooting them in the back. It seems like the situational awareness for match point is relatively weak this match. We saw the earlier play from Laizy sneaking around. Now bonkar's just shooting people in the back. What's going on?
Well, they're just not noticing the Androxus. They do have damage fall off, so from range, they're barely starting to tickle their opponents, but bonkar 6, 2, and 6 has to be prioritized. Priority, though, is going to be Dragon Punch coming through. Catches Smidgen out of the air as they blink through to the objective. Advance at 96% comes through from Ruckus, who gets taken down by direct impact as well. Immortal use around the objective to try and hold this down for match point, but it's just resetting overtime. No respawns close enough. Overtime will tick down. WarDoom will fall, and Burrito get the second capture of this game too.
That actually could have been really bad for Burrito, as when your Dragon's Fury hits Eevee, you've actually hit the worst target out of everyone. She's so fast that she's going to get back in the fight. You really want to hit those tanks. But amazing fire split play pushes everyone away from the Immortal, and it's recovered very nicely from Burrito. Now pushing forward yet again, it's going to be this main choke point in front of the base where match point have to hold for the second time.
They're going to give it their best shot onto the objective. Goes doesupz on Ruckus, trying to hold things down. No Hexafires available. Frontline shield from Fernando will try and lock things down as well. And look at the damage coming through from these two frontline champions. WarDoom gets a double and secures a defensive hold for the time being. I like the, I very much like the reversal from Androxus there, but the nice impaler arrow coming from the stolzey sets up so many kills for match point.
I really like the emitter use there. Emitter actually slows people around you when you use it. It's not often used, but great use of that slow for doesupz to chase his opponent. But now Drogoz is back and finds an awesome, awesome fire spit to disrupt the enemy team of match point, which results in 2 kills. The other thing I want to mention, Thiel, every time you pull someone's dredge anchor, there's a huge alpha strike as all of Burrito's DPS hits them all at once, and they're dead.
That coordination, that focus fire coming through really helps Burrito out on this payload push. Looking for an advantage. They're going to want to push this through the choke point now, but the respawn from WarDoom has come back on Fernando, and no kills have been achieved in just a little while. WarDoom picks up one Hexafire from doesupz on the backline again, but they're getting pummeled by Drogoz and shut down. Laizy picks up one. It is now looking for further frags, still in the backline now on the payload.
But it does seem like Matchpoint has been able to form up. Laizy's going to fall as WarDoom goes around the corner, and Laizy was just a little bit too close. That Knight takes him down, no problem. Now Smidgen going to look for an opportunity to zone, looking to push forward, finds bonkar on the side, but it's a relatively hard fight to just face-to-face kill out the Androxus, so more of the poke coming out from Eevee.
18 seconds left on this push. Smidgen hit back with a massive fire spit, will regenerate thanks to the illusions from Kusqt, and again is looking for poke onto Laizy's Cassie in the backline, who is trying to disrupt up in the air. Bonkar drops the Accursed, does outtrade with stolzey. Dread Serpent is massive, that damage amplification huge. doesupz has to advance away from the objective, and WarDoom's shield is rapidly dropping in health. Stunned out, shut down by spunkki. This is looking good for Burrito to gain a conversion.
No one can quite get to the point. Cancel that. It's Eevee blinking in. A huge ice storm starts to turn things around, but there's still a frontliner. There's still damage, and there's nobody left from Matchpoint. Now 3-1. Yet again, Matchpoint is on the back foot, and yet again, they're going to need to pull out a miracle.
That's going to be very difficult versus Burrito Esports, who hold in their hand Birds Drogoz with Wrecker 2 now online, and Morale Boost 2. We've talked about Dragon Punch a little bit so far this game, but for those of you watching for the first time from home, exactly what does that ultimate do?
Well, you pause in the air, dramatically lean back and ready a giant punch. And as you yell, "Behold the Dragon's Fury," you charge into the fray, boosting with your rockets in one shot anyone you hit, which is crucial against a tanky composition like Ruckus and Fernando. It's also really cool.
It certainly is, and with Morale Boost 2 picked up by Bird for faster ultimate charge, that will be available very quickly as we do head back into the objective for round number 3. doesupz straight on there, no, going for a flank is match point, and this might make all the difference as Ruckus advances straight towards the back line of their enemy.
I love the way they're changing it up, but it might not be good enough as Burrito just backs off, regroups. Thiel tanking for only a moment as his shield is killed very quickly, but Matchpoint does have control of the objective. Looking for a stun or an opportunity is spunkki with those snakes, and Burrito can't find a way in yet. But there's a pull, and that could start the fight.
It might well do, but it's on to doesupz. It's on to a Ruckus who has that emitter shield available to them. Very, very tanky indeed, and now coming back looking for vengeance. Smidgen goes down to Thiel. Shellspin, however, a nice dredge anchor comes through again. doesupz taken down by Thiel for a double kill as Burrito wrestle control from their opponents of this objective and will start to try and take up the capture, but it's still in Matchpoint's favor.
It is still in Matchpoint's favor because Burrito's not done killing them yet. They're just murdering everyone, and Thiel on this Makoa is so instrumental. 9, 7, and 10. Pull Fernando off the edge, and that's exactly what I want to see out of this amazing star player, highlight player.
Oh my goodness, WarDoom just charged straight in towards the Makoa standing by the edge. That's not something that we expect at this level of play. That's a lack of situational and map awareness coming through.
Whoa,
nice fire spit from Bird round the corner. Great play coming out of the Drogo's master here as Burrito Esports have gained capture control. Dragon Punch will be used to zone out any enemies around the objective. Wait, WarDoom on the point is shut down. It's up to doesupz to try and hold the front line, but the Wrecker does so much work. Double kill for Bird as they taunt and emote on the point, but a little bit too early as Smidgen has returned.
Smidgen blinking in, trying to hold the point. Overtime persists, but they're just going to use the Ancient Rage and sweep it out. That's the end of the game. Burrito Esports up 2-0 in this series and looking very strong.
A close game again at times, at points, but the Drogo's pick coming out strong really felt like it made the difference that game. That Dragon Punch right at the end to be able to immediately eliminate one of the 2 tanky frontline targets, which could have bought time for their team to respawn from match point and allowed players to get back to the objective, was so important. And it's not often that we've seen this coming out at LAN. Maybe a pocket strategy like Grover that could really come into play.
I mean, Drogo's was good, but honestly, Makoa, it was all about the turtle in that match. Pull and kill. And that's exactly what happened every single time that Thiel was able to find a DPS. No matter, even a Ruckus, right? There were times where he had 3,000 health and it instantly disappeared as you got all of the damage from the Androxus, the Drogos, and the Cassie simultaneously.
And not just that, when you throw out your Dredge Anchor and pull in an enemy, you also gain bonus damage onto your next shot onto that enemy from Makoa. So immediately you're doing 1,000 damage from the Ancient, from this turtle, on top of all of that focus fire from the rest of Burrito's team. You can see that reflected in the scoreboard. Thiel sitting there at 47,000 damage, exceeding actually several players on the side of Matchpoint who weren't playing a frontline role.
That's right. So the big thing, though, for me is just the way the damage is so even from everyone on Burrito. 76k Laizy, 78k Bird, 75k Bonkar, and they're all just doing the same amount because they're all so deadly and dangerous. You can't just focus down one person. You have to just be better than Burrito as a team. Easier said than done.
Consistency. It's the name of the game here, which we saw Burrito pull out in game number 2. And after listening to some of the discussion between the teams, between Burrito's members following the set versus Abyss yesterday, which was dragged out to 5 full games, one of the things they were talking about is, hey, our comms aren't clear. We can't hear each other making the calls, and it looks like they have fully resolved that issue and are now coming in very strong indeed. Matchpoint falling behind that game, had a lot of damage again on stolzey's Charlene, but the rest of the team is flagging behind them.
The big thing for me is doesupz on Ruckus. He's been playing well all weekend, but Ruckus has been a huge performer throughout this tournament, and 36k is not the performance that we have typically seen. I don't think that's actually doesupz. I think that's Burrito playing very well against this Ruckus and knowing what to do. Let's check out the maps and see if Matchpoint can change it up. they're down 2 games, right? This is a best of 7. They still have some room because they have to lose 4 to get eliminated, but it's not looking good so far.
Speaking of room, the map for game number 3 will be Frozen Guard selected for these 2 teams. And that's a map with a great deal of open space all around the capture point. The Igloo provides some cover, but we've seen previously, notably Abyss, draft a lot of long line of sight damage champions onto this map and look to play around the objective rather than directly on the point. Could this be a strategy which Matchpoint could also utilize to try and gain an advantage versus the Makoa versus the front line, which Burrito seemed to favor so heavily?
I think it certainly could be. Frozen Guard is interesting in that you've got an interior capture point in the center. Granted, it's fairly open, but it's still an interior space. And then there's this large no man's land that is just open between it and the main thoroughfare that teams are going to be running down. So long-range characters are good here because they excel in those wide open spaces. But when we saw Abyss doing that, we had the combination of a Kinessa and a Shaolin. One, is Matchpoint going to be able to get that Shaolin again? What are they going to have to lose for it? Because I don't know if they can give up Makoa again. And then 2, do they have someone else to play that second long-range damage dealer?
It's not just the second long-range damage dealer we saw succeed on this map. It was 3 if you include Grover, who has that bonus damage from their axe. I know you knew. We made a point of highlighting that several times.
Bless up, Church of Grover.
Absolutely, and that could be the saving grace from Matchpoint. I have heard Kusqt talk a little bit about how we were going to see some Grover play from Matchpoint during this tournament. If there's a time to pull it out and a time to pull out all the stops, the semi-finals where Matchpoint face being shut out with 2 more losses, well, this is it after all.
You know, this might be a good shot to really dig deep into those pocket strats and pull something out. Maybe there's a dope Grok strat that they've got sitting on. I'm hoping.
Okay.
I love Grok.
Okay, that's a little bit too far.
But here's the thing, right?
Okay.
If you lose this game, you're not out. So it's a great time to try something crazy. Let's head in the draft and see what Matchpoint has got prepared, as Burrito will be the first pick, and I think it's safe to assume Makoa.
Color me unsurprised.
Look at that.
And purple. Matchpoint will be electing a counter draft. Now, they do have the opportunity to draft in a Shaolin, but Fernando will be selected. Shaolin too, actually, so getting both of these all-important champions online, but giving up Ruckus in response. And after the performance that doesupz had in the previous game, I would say that that's no bad thing. Burrito now have the opportunity to respond.
That's right. Burrito with the Eevee. We didn't see that last game, so changing it up. And Cassie here. Maldamba still available, and I think it is worth taking away from Spunkki. Kus also well known for his Maldamba. Some great use of the noodle that Maldamba tosses out when he reloads.
And the noodle, of course, referring to the danger noodle. Maldamba's snake now drafted for Matchpoint alongside Androxus. This could go to a few different players on their team. God stolzey known for their Androxus play, but they have to also fill that Shaolin champion role. Burrito will finalize their draft here. Ruckus selected as last pick, such a far cry away from what we saw earlier in this tournament. Alongside Ying, will the lock come through? And indeed it will.
All right, so Ruckus Makoa, we're gonna see that Ruckus composition again. Ying, I like that Matchpoint is forcing Burrito onto Ying because she does have some trouble with AoE clear like Drogo's, and her healing is skill limited. You can only do so much when you spawn illusions that heal for you.
Indeed, and you mentioned Drogo's there right at the end. Drafted after the Lord of the Skies, the Edgelord Androxus. Drogo's the Greedy will be the final pick for Matchpoint. We saw how strong Bird was able to, or how well Bird was able to utilize this pick in game number 2, and it's now up to Matchpoint to do just the same and try and turn the tables and the momentum of this set on its head. Will this be the keystone they need, or will it be shut down by Burrito's draft here?
Well, we'll see. I do like that Matchpoint are changing it up. I think that's important. They still get their Shaolin, which clearly seems to be stolzey's favored pick, which he needs to be on a comfort pick so he can go off and do really well to carry Matchpoint through. But let's remember, this is the #1 team from NA against the #1 team from EU. I bet they hope to have this matchup in the final so they could prove just how good their region was, but they have to do it here in the semis. So Matchpoint, man, they gotta prove to themselves and to all of us that they can really compete with Burrito.
They certainly do. There's so much pressure on Matchpoint from themselves, from their fans, from the rest of the world who don't want an all-EU finals.
And from
let's
us.
head into game number 3 here on Frozen Guard as we introduce the teams once again. Burrito Esports on the left with Laizy playing Eevee, spunkki on Ying, bonkar on Cassie, Thiel on Makoa, and Bird on Ruckus.
On the other side, Matchpoint, stolzey will be playing Androxus this time. WarDoom on Fernando, Smidgen on Maldamba, Kusqt on the Drogos, and doesupz on Shaolin. So changing it up entirely. Let's see what they can do.
Eevee blinking into the backline, Laizy looking for their signature first pick, doesn't find much damage, but is providing distraction for the team. They do send an Androxus to deal with them, but Laizy is still able to survive well. Bonkar goes down, first blood to Kusqt, double kill for the Drogos, trying to find the triple kill, which they will find. Killing spree for Kusqt on Drogos as they look to convert for even more damage.
stolzey in the front lines, just getting some poke damage in. Kusqt zoning with those rockets, which is a nice choice in allowing his healer to just heal him up. When you attack, you are considered in combat, so you cannot regenerate your health, and you're going to have to rely on healing from someone like Maldamba. But now Burrito pushing forward. It's 90%. They've got to get on, and there's the Makoa.
Onto the objective is Ruckus as well. Repulsor field can be activated here, but massive fire spit damage comes through from Kusqt. The rockets are slaying. The rockets are shredding. Laizy can't even contest this, can't do enough damage, and whilst Kusqt will fall, it is overtime on the objective for Matchpoint. No frontline for Burrito. Spunkki will try and contest momentarily. Laizy on EV2, but there's just a little bit too much damage coming through from Matchpoint. Can they buy the time? I don't think so.
Smidgen going to be able to find that last kill, and it is the first capture of the set for Matchpoint. Or is it the second? Did they capture both? I don't think they did.
Drogos is dead, right, though?
Drogos is dead.
Okay.
All right, speaking of dead, Burrito is dead here. Matchpoint pushing forward. They need to get aggressive and control this choke inside the building and under that little bridge.
Keep your eyes on the side of the map, however, again on Makoa. We're seeing Thiel go around the outside as Matchpoint try and force a direct engagement. Watch out for the flank play coming through, but it does appear to have been spotted out by stolzey, who's not having any of that monkey business. The turtle moves, but not quite fast enough, and we have reached an impasse as the payload has been stalled.
That's right, but stolzey's ultimate is now available. Laizy has his, but I don't think it's going to be as impactful. It doesn't do quite as much damage. Matchpoint regrouping, trying to get some poke, but they actually lose stolzey, and now Burrito is pushing them back. They don't want to get zoned here.
Rather than stolzey's ultimate, which I think we should talk about, it is Kusqt's Dragon Punch available now as well. Not going to be utilized because Matchpoint, despite being up players, are on the back foot being forced towards their spawn, but there's no Immortal from Fernando to counter out the Dragon Punch on the side of Burrito Esports. So if it's utilized and spunkki can't block it with an illusion, either Thiel or Bird will be immediately dead.
Well, if Matchpoint aren't able to get on the cart soon, it's not worth using any ultimates. They're so far away. Up in the air is Kusqt, but taking quite a few hits. Bonkar finding that kill. The Shaolin in a bit of trouble as Bonkar continues the chase, but it's going to be Maldamba who's pulled and killed. Smidgen falls there. WarDoom falls as well. That's 3 in a row, and Bonkar's looking for more.
doesupz around the corner, misses the first arrow, going straight to the wall. Withdraw is used to keep them invisible. Can't quite find the shot. Thiel finds the dredge and go onto the invisible Shaolin. Bonkar will take out doesupz, and that's a good shutdown for Burrito Esports as the respawns trickle back in from Matchpoint. Only 4v5 now, a great opportunity to hold.
Well, you know, if you don't see someone, the stealth grass is a good guess. Matchpoint with 20 seconds left. I don't think they're going to be able to get to this objective, but maybe they could get that additional ultimate from Smidgen. Some fire spit damage going through. No, not going to be detonated. 12 seconds left. They might be able to force an overtime, but I don't know if they're going to be able to go all the way.
Maybe they will be able to pull out a play here, though, as stolzey cracks things open with spunkki. No more healing, no more sustain for Burrito. This is an opportunity for Matchpoint to push this one through in overtime, and they do, but Thiel responds. Bird is available, and look at this flank Makoa coming out to play, trying to distract and assassinate on the backline, buying time for their teams to respawn.
you gotta be careful about trying to pick off this Makoa because Thiel can be there, or sorry, Laizy can be there at a moment's notice. A nice pull onto the Maldamba. He's gonna use Smither to survive, but Smidgen is going to fall to Laizy, and now Laizy using his ice block to heal back up a little bit. He's got his mobility back online. It's gonna be very hard for stolzey to survive this.
Look at the target prioritization, however, going after the flank, going after the damage before WarDoom on Fernando, who actually picks up a kill onto the support player from Burrito, but leaves the payload in the process and allows overtime to tick down. A successful defense from Burrito Esports, but with the trickle respawns coming through, it looks like WarDoom was gonna pick up a kill and call it a day there.
Net worth topped by Bonkar, but damage topped by doesupz, yet again proving how powerful Shaolin is. Just doing so much damage into those tanks. Ultimates are up from nearly everyone, but doesupz doesn't have his on Shaolin. Granted, it's more of an individual big play clutch ultimate than it is a team fighting ultimate.
Correct. The big play will come from Smidgen with their Dread Serpent utilization. If this comes out at a key point in the team fight, it could set up so much damage onto Burrito, but Burrito with 5 ultimates to their name are waiting for this opportunity to strike. Bonkar not using Scout yet on Cassie right at the start of this fight, maybe saving that for the CC immunity when Dread Serpent comes through.
I think he might be saving it for the Shaolin ult, but nonetheless, ultimates start to drop and Kus is dropped out of the sky. Bonkar falls, which is an important pick at the start of this fight.
stolzey is looking for Eevee in the back line, finds 1 shot, 2 shot, but is being forced out here, only 1 shot away. If Eevee finds it, Laizy cleans up the god, and Thiel takes Kusqt out of the air. The dredge anchor, the anchor blade, the cannonball coming in strong. Laizy with a double kill, and this is a far cry away from Matchpoint's initial capture control.
Looks like Matchpoint has been cleared off of the objective, and now you'll see the support starting to get that point time going as the front lines move forward to zone. stolzey not going to be liking this firefight from ranges, and Druck's fall is pretty bad, and not going to be liking that pull as Kus on the Drogos.
Look at the sneaky play coming through from Thiel as well, just hiding in the stealth grass, invisible, and landing the dredge anchor to immediately poke up their opponents onto the objective. Does advance Bird, but straight off again to avoid some incoming damage. stolzey picks up 2. Can they be the saving grace for their team as Burrito have almost gained capture control here? It's 96% and rising. WarDoom must get on now to take this into overtime. stolzey lives, but for how much longer? Bird, no, that back of the wall is able to survive, and out comes Ancient Rage. That's all she wrote for Matchpoint, as again, spunkki picks up a triple kill on Ying. Objective goes through to Burrito.
Ying's damage is so good in those small little windows where she can unleash a blast from her mirror, hit all 5, get that bonus damage, and deal quite a lot. In the long engagements, her range is a limiting factor, but when you've got some setup, when you've got someone not paying attention to you, she can be very deadly.
Look at Thiel's positioning on Makoa whilst this fight breaks out. Actually going to be pressured down by Kusqt here and taken out. But they're completely away from the rest of the team, just leaving a single Ruckus to fight the front line. And this might come back to haunt Burrito as they're being dismantled and ripped apart of the scene. doesupz with 2, tries to convert for a 3rd kill. WarDoom will clean up spunkki. Good initial hold from Matchpoint. Respawns coming through from Burrito shortly. I've got to ask, was Thiel right in trying to make that kind of play? Should have stuck with the team?
I think that was a rare misplay. He was looking for Kus, and he likes to really... I think he's just targeting this Drogos, pulling him out of the sky, trying to get in his head, but there it came back to haunt him as his team was pushed back. But there's the pull on the Drogos. Pushback goes up in the air, as does the Accursed Arm, getting some great damage out onto Bird, but Bonkar gets the return kill.
Still important, however, taking away the front line from Burrito was stolzey. Dragon Punch coming in, looking for somebody, looking for anybody, not Thiel, as Kusqt can't convert on their ultimate, but can convert on Smidgen's damage on Maldamba here. We're going to see the Drogos look to drop more damage on to Bird as they return to the objective fray again. Smidgen got a stun off before they died, and that allows Kus to force away from the objective. Ruckus, who is likely to fall here yet again.
I love the way Kus moves on this Drogos, using Propel, which moves him forward when he uses Thrust, allowing him to sail across the battlefield. Nice damage coming out there, but he's going to actually fall to Laizy. You rarely see an Eevee hit Drogos in the air, just because it's so hard to hit with that very slow-moving projectile.
And now it will be Thiel and Laizy trying to make the plays. Rushing forwards is Thiel, trying to find a dredge anchor opportunity onto Smidgen, looking for it, trying trying to find the angle, but just can't see them. Smidgen's positioning is great here, staying out of the way of Makoa, who they know is forcing the front line. But here we go. Thiel finds Kusqt once again, who will thrust to safety, but this repeated target focus may have a psychological impact on the Drogoz player from match point at this rate.
It certainly has the effect of pulling him back down to earth. bonkar very far in the back, getting chased by a Fernando, as it looks like match point is pushing forward. 2 seconds left on the payload. It is going to go into overtime, but Burrito are starting to lose their players.
Bird, who also just fell, did have a Hexafire available, which is now no longer useful to be able to push that conversion through. And with match point picking up kill after kill, it will be Burrito just letting that one go. A successful defense for match point, the North American squad, but net worth still largely in favor of Burrito towards the top of the chart at least.
That's right, and Burrito are starting to really get those cauterizes online, which they love to do. They love to have cauterize on almost every member of the team. Bird going to record, but he's the only one. In terms of damage dealt, though, there's a ton more damage coming out from match point, and I think part of that is Burrito's just doing such a good job of falling back and regenerating or getting healed up by Spunkki.
The time being 6 seconds until round number 3 begins. A lot of master riding start to come out. 2 for Thiel and 2 for Bird. Watch these frontliners as they will try and get straight behind their opponents, or Bird straight to the objective. Scout activated by bonkar to start this one off.
That's right. Now Makoa around the right-hand side, but he finds Fernando, who's really the only target he's not looking for. Dragon's Fury coming out, but it's not finding anyone. Kusqt just using it for mobility, he says, but he's not going to be even able to find a kill as Burrito just fell back, grouped back up, and now they're looking for kills.
Oh, and look at this focus. Thiel with blinders on there, charges straight past everybody, trying to find Kusqt in the backline, but does get shut down, and that seemed like it was a very unusual play from the squad of Burrito Esports, as Kusqt is now still alive to dish out devastation. Focusing the same player again and again. Yes, it's good if you can achieve the kills, but to the point of madness, that's just unsuccessful here.
I don't know. I think it's important because look at what Kusqt can do when he's not being focused. Awesome play there coming out from the Drogoz. It's so important to make sure that he's not able to have free reign over the skies. Holding the right side is stolzey. Holding the point is match point at 93%.
It's very close indeed, but Dread Serpent comes out onto the objective. stolzey will counter, however, with a Cursed Arm. There's met into the face by Field's edge of range, but Kusqt takes him down with Dragon Punch. Every front body from Burrito falls as Kusqt picks up 2. Kusqt looks for 3, gets 3 in a row. Laizy will answer back, but only momentarily. No, 2 kills to Laizy. The one to which 2 mobile, 2 agile picks up a triple, but the objective still goes to match point because they can't stay on there and they can't withstand the heat.
Yeah, unfortunately, Eevee is a character that relies on mobility, and when you're trying to hold a capture point and trying to get kills, something's got to give. Has to stay mobile to find those kills, but unfortunately, he moved off the capture point for just too long.
The kills, though, they're still important, right? Because that's allowed Burrito Esports to set up a very advanced defense. They're not being pushed aside by match point's momentum, and so they are able to hold aggressively here.
That's right, and now look at the way Spunkki's changed his playstyle. He's dropping illusions in locations to facilitate his team healing up, to then avoid the cauterize. Especially cauterize 3 on Fernando is very effective because anyone he hits is going to have 90% reduced healing.
And that big AoE cone of fire from Fernando's Flame Lance is effective at dropping cauterize onto about everybody who gets anywhere near them. bonkar here, though, is looking to try and hold a line of sight. Nice dredge angle play from Thiel. Sends WarDoom off the edge. Game after game, we've seen Makoa achieve this for Burrito Esports. Matchpoint don't appear to be learning from their previous mistakes.
I think it's just almost inevitable the way Thiel plays. He goes around the sides of the map, and if Fernando happens to be there, off the edge, right? He's not going to miss that one. Unfortunately for WarDoom, it's happened once a game.
But WarDoom seems to be countering this out with the Master Riding 2 pick up here. They're straight back to the fray. Matchpoint have set up, they regroup, they're looking for an engagement, and it's coming from the back of stolzey, who's just chipping Thiel down so quickly, forcing out the shell shield, and this provides an opportunity for Matchpoint to actually start pushing for the first time this round.
That's right, Matchpoint needs to get pushing faster and faster. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to make it all the way their without really needing to use overtime. But Laizy, he's diving in and looking for damage. Ruckus might be a bit out of position, actually, but they're trying to control the cart, and this Makoa is trying to take control of the Drogos, who can just do so much damage.
But it's doesupz you have to worry about so far on Shaolin. Looking for picks, looking for plays. Control behind Fernando's shield, has a clear line of sight onto the back line of Burrito Esports. Dragon's Fury, Dragon Punch coming out again from Kusqt, who meets an illusion head-to-head, gets pulled to their doom by Thiel. Misplay from Kusqt. Nice illusion block from Spunkki, and despite them falling, it's buying time for the respawns to come through. And with 3, 2, 1 on the objective, match point cannot contest. Burrito get a successful defense, and 3-3 is the scoreboard.
It's 3-3, so you might think it's an even match, but there are 5 ultimates available for Burrito, and 2, because that Maldama is about to get his, available for match point. It's going to be very difficult to win this round, and that's exactly what they need to do. It all comes down to this capture point, and match point, they've still got their backs against the wall. Burrito is so strong, they're up 2 games, and you really don't want to be down 3-0.
And Burrito are so far ahead in itemization too. We've got 3 cauterized 3s picked up for 90% anti-heal off weapon shots for Burrito Esports. If somebody gets on a Smidgen, their gourd will do nothing. WarDoom can't sustain through all of that poke pressure, and doesupz too, who's now picked up Life Rip. That won't really be effective despite Plants' massive damage.
But you've got Dread Serpent and Curse and Arm, and that is maybe the best combo you can have in this match. Trying to find a kill is match point, and they actually do force out the Ancient Rage.
Dread Serpent not utilized just yet, but we did see a Cursed Arm come through. Just about able to pick up a kill onto Bird is stolzey. Snapshot straight out of Nether Step, and now looks for somebody on the backline to clean up. They spotted Spunkki on Ying, dropping the damage through, bypassing the Makoa. Thiel falls again, and that is match point wrestling back control from Burrito.
It's nearly a full team wipe, but yet again, the Eevee player staying alive. She's got to fall soon. The way stolzey was watching that, looking for the blink location, the capture point is starting to tick up. It's 54 to about 50. Match point have control, but they're not able to get in position to zone. They're gonna have to fight on the point, and is 1 ultimate to 2, Heat Haze, and most importantly, the Dread Serpent.
Watch for that Maldamba player to come through. Kusqt will fall beginning this engagement, but on the objective, Dread Serpent ineffective because it's used onto a Ruckus in Hexafire, who is CC immune. Falling to Smidgen is Bird, but Thiel is here to play. They find doesupz in Heat Haze, but doesupz has too much damage, but at last is shut down by Laizy, and Burrito Esports are back in control. If the dismount comes through on a Kusqt, it's already over here.
Kus has to get to the point. He's the furthest forward and the most mobile. He will be able to contest, and match point rushes in. Dragon's Fury not successfully going to finish. He pauses in the air, and he falls. Now pulled is Fernando, but he's in trouble too.
And Laizy will shut down WarDoom. Overtime is ticking. To the objective goes Shaolin, but is met by damage from Ying, and that's Burrito closing out Game 3 with a 4-3 victory.
It was so close for match point. They just needed that one fight, but the Dread Serpent wasn't right. Wakono was not happy with Maldamba that game. He didn't answer match point's prayers, and now it's 3-0 in favor of Burrito. Match point cannot lose any more games. They have to win 4 in a row.
That's a very difficult task ahead of them. We say uphill battle quite a lot. That's not just an uphill battle. That's not a hill battle. That's an up Everest battle. You're climbing a mountain to get a reverse sweep against Burrito Esports.
It's a very big burrito that you're climbing. You got to eat a very big burrito if you want to get through this set as match point. But Burrito could be set to go through 4-0, and I would assume they've got to be saving some strats for the finals because they really haven't had to show anything except good teamwork and good mechanics.
Good Makoa play is the name of the game from Burrito for the time being. Let's take a look at the scoreboard and see how that was reflected in Thiel's stats from the previous game. They spent so much time trying to focus down Kusqt and drag the dragon down into the ground. Let's see how they performed. 28 eliminations. That's actually fantastic, and exceeding both Spunkki's, or rather Spunkki's damage, and almost matching Bird's on Ruckus.
Man, but I'm looking at Kus. That was a fantastic Drogo's game. 102,000 damage, and yes, we called that Thiel was going almost too hard in chasing him down, But the moment he didn't, man, Kusqt was just a monster.
And I've got to ask, what would have happened if Kusqt hadn't had to deal with Thiel all game, trying to dive the backline, looking to really shut Kusqt down? The Drogos came into play fantastically, starting the whole game off with a double kill, and that's exactly what Matchpoint needed to try and build momentum. Alas, not quite enough, and despite Matchpoint pulling ahead in damage that game, at least on 2 of their champions, with Xiaolin and Drogos performing exceptionally, it wasn't enough to out-sustain all the healing coming through from Spunkki's Ying, and just the shielding from the 2 frontline champions of Thiel and Bird on Makoa and Ruckus.
You know, I think one of the players on Matchpoint we haven't been talking about very much is Smidgen. He's got to step up in this series. Matchpoint moved him to a support. He was missing some of his ultimates. It's got to go one level higher because I think he is playing correctly. You can see the objective time. He's doing his job. He's healing his team. He's getting the most healing in the game, as Meldamba should, but he's not going above and beyond as you need to do in the semifinals of the Paladins Invitational at Hi-Rez Expo, presented by Twitch Prime.
Especially when you have to contest or perform against, a support like Spunkki, who's just so unbelievable for Burrito. Smidgen does play a flex role, however. We know that they also have a Ruckus available to them, can play frontliners, can play supports, can play an Eevee, so they are very flexible in what they're willing to pick up for the team. We know that Kusqt's Drogos far exceeds everybody else's on the side of Matchpoint, but Drogos, whilst it was very, very highly performing previously in game number 3, it seems like that pocket strategy had been met with a counter.
I mean, it's absolutely time to just bust out all the stops. You can't hold anything back. If there's any strategy, like a Grok or a Sky,
Bomb King.
Yeah, Bomb King.
You know what I'm feeling? I'm feeling you want area damage, right? You want that damage split so you can't have all of your damage mitigated by just Haven or just Blast Shields. We only tend to see one AoE champion on each team. Drogos didn't work out too well, but I feel like potentially Bomb King has some more viability versus Makoa because Makoa pulls them in, an immediate Poppy Bomb to disengage, and we know about doesupz on the Bomb King, certainly.
I would love to see that in this next set. Matchpoint, they've got to really dig deep and, rely on their awesome players if they want to go forward in this game. Kusqt has been so good in this set. He was specifically targeted by Thiel to be shut down. So let's take a look at how Kusqt got here, where he came from, and what this guy's all about.
I think Kusqt is like the NA superstar. I think he's the best NA player, but he plays supports super well. He's obviously the best player, I think, of NA.
He's a really good player. I'd say he's probably the best on Matchpoint. He's the helper. He's the core of the team, ready to help anyone. He can go fill any role. He can do anything that's needed. And I think that's the kind of player you want to watch out for because you don't necessarily know what they're going to do. You don't know how they're going to fit into your team.
Yeah, sometimes I'm picking up a DPS character, but mostly supports if the role's necessary.
Kusqt had the ability to, quickly master all those different roles. He's played Androxus, he's carried Cassie, and now he's back on to supports.
He kind of, on MP, fills everything. Like, he's the guy who can do everything.
Kusqt is our flex, our support player. I'd say he's the best support in the game, by far. Kusqt, he's more strategic with how he plays, or safe. stolzey is more aggressive.
I do. I think he's an overall better player. He won't admit it, and he says, "Oh, stolzey's the best player in the world," which is a joke right now. I just laugh. I'm like, "No, dude, you have no clue what you're talking about, man."
Oh, I love Kusqt. He's like a giant teddy bear. I love hanging out with him. He has a really great personality, really sarcastic and fun to be around. As a player, though, Kusqt is like really diverse. He plays supports. He can play a tank. He can play a damage dealer. He can do just about anything, like to a really high level too. So definitely a scary player to go against.
There is a little player spotlight, but that's not all. Alan I hold shift on Afrio back again one more time to reveal a couple extra cosmetic things for Paladins. And I'm here with Thomas Holt, the art director for Paladins. What do you got queued up for us this time?
Well, we have a skin that we've been very excited about. And when I say excited, I mean excited. This came from an idea inside the development team. The minute it was said, we knew we were doing it, and we've been pushing it through development as fast as we could. In fact, the character team has been making fan art of their own art. So Victor, we have a brand new collection coming for him. It's the Code Green collection, and it is awesome. You may see it on your screen right now. This collection is amazing. It's 4 heads, 4 bodies, 4 weapons. Takes you back to your childhood, playing around with little green men, and we expect to see a lot of green victors in our future.
I will say personally, this is a little embarrassing. I still have those back when my parents have them stashed away in the attic somewhere.
Oh,
I might have to get a little bit of nostalgia bringing those back out and just have them like all mounted over my computer, because that's awesome. I mean, this definitely brings you back when you're a child and you're thinking about what the possibilities of what these little green dudes could be. Now it's kind of a backwards. It's a Victor going back a little bit towards that little bit of youth.
Oh, it's great. And the team, like I said, has been really into it. I mean, the character team's been knocking it out of the park. The materials on this thing are awesome. They read as plastic. The weapon team, oh my goodness, these weapons look so good. They have the little plastic molding, the seams that you see on them, and it's amazing. So.
That's one of the beauties and the details, even no matter how simple it might be. If that thing really looks like plastic, it's really going to be a showstopper.
Yeah, definitely. And we have the Ying coming up with the new map, which we'll be revealing a little bit in the finals tomorrow. So definitely tune in at that. And then the Victor should be coming up in a patch shortly after that.
Shortly after that, I know we're all excited. The Genie skin is already getting a lot of hits and a lot of likes over on the Twitter. I can only imagine what this is going to bring. But if you're not someone who's rehearsed in Paladins, let's take a look at some of the extra hype that you can find if you sign up today.
This is my domain. Time to hunt. Behold the dragon's fury! Pick up the pace!
Woohoo!
Bring it on!
Come watch the great Eevee take down all the people she hates! Poof! Time's ticking. I will make this a horrific scene of bloodshed.
Death awaits you all!
Welcome back then, champions, to this semi-final set between Burrito Esports and Matchpoint here at Hi-Rez Expo of 2017, presented to you by Twitch Prime. We just came out of that fantastic trailer and the introduction or the reveal for some new Victor skins. My goodness, those look very awesome. Those look so nostalgic as well, which was really touched upon.
Yeah. Wait, they had toy soldiers in England? In Wales?
We had sticks and twine.
It's similar.
Yeah.
They can be green. Anyway, let's go right into the match. This is the 4th game of the set. Matchpoint versus Burrito. It has been a dominant performance from Burrito, currently up 3-0. Matchpoint needs to recover here, but I think Burrito's just going to show us how flawless they are.
And they can certainly at least try and do that on Serpent Beach, the 4th match in this set, or the 4th map in this set, which will be played next. But Matchpoint do still have a chance here. They're not done yet. They have to pull out a 4-0 sweep at this point, or rather the reverse sweep to pull themselves back in. And there's no better way to start that off than on the map Serpent Beach, which just feels comfortable to so many players.
That's right. It is such it's the standard for competitive play. So I love starting a set or ending a set on this map. Let's take a look at the champion draft and see what Matchpoint are going to do in their potentially final game of the tournament. Burrito, we already know it's Makoa first pick. Thiel has played this every single game. I'd wager he likes it.
I'm going to agree with you there. I can see Thiel looking over and glancing at the casters and giving them a little nod of approval. Fernando Shaolin locked in for match point here, which has been relatively standard to their playstyle so far. I like this draft to start off with, but it's the rest of the draft which I'm a little bit nervous about for match point. Burrito up next.
And doesupz taking that away is definitely good, as bonkar is fantastic on it. Laizy's Eevee hasn't been a force of destruction in these games, but it has been a force of constant annoyance. It's going to be Cassie instead, though, which is very good against Shaolin, especially because her ultimate completely negates Shaolin's.
Matchpoint gonna be drafting a Ruckus here as well, so Shaolin, already a little bit vulnerable, will be slightly more protected in Heat Haze, necessarily with Repulsor Field active Maldamba too, making sure that that isn't given over to Spunkki on Burrito, and I feel like rather than picking that for themselves, they're just making sure that doesn't go over to the showstopper support for Burrito, who instead will likely be on this Ying pick.
That's right, Ruckus and Maldamba. You just have to go these two, right? Bird's Ruckus is too good. The Ying, the Maldamba from Spunkki is just too good. Matchpoint have the final pick. Buck could be interesting, but in the past we've seen him have trouble with Cauterize.
I don't like this. I'm really nervous about this Buck pick. You're picking up a flanker, which is good to get into the back line, but Matchpoint, we know that Buck is susceptible to being kited around by Cassie if they can hit their dodge roll shots, or dredged out of the air by Makoa. It feels like Matchpoint are banking on Thiel playing this assassination flanker Makoa role and not protecting their team, but with a Buck on board now, I think that's just going to end up being a vulnerability for Matchpoint.
Yeah, I mean, but it's potentially their final showing. They've got to dig deep, and if Buck is something they haven't tried yet, why not try it now? You don't get any other opportunities after this one.
And to be fair, we have both seen it succeed and fail on a LAN stage. Picked up and utilized very well at times, and just fall rather flat at others. Notably falling flat when there is a Shaolin around on the enemy team, because if Buck jumps in near a wall, they're immediately impaled, planted, and skewered, and they just will fall. So potentially this could be a saving grace, and if Buck is going to go for any assassination plays onto the backline of Burrito, who are they looking for really as a priority pick?
I think they gotta try and pressure Spunkki and then look for the 1v1s on Cassie and dousupz. Buck actually decent against EV2. The shotgun is surprisingly an aerial target, and he can do a lot of damage. But for potentially the last time, Burrito Esports, bonkar on dousupz, Laizy on Cassie, Spunkki on Ying, Thiel on Makoa for 4 games in a row, and Bird on Eevee.
The last North American hope. Matchpoint Gaming will be coming from the right-hand side of your spectator UI. We have Kusqt playing Buck, stolzey again on Shaolin, WarDoom on Fernando, Smidgen on Maldamba, doesupz on Ruckus, and immediately actually it's Matchpoint who do take control of this game. Kusqt though is in a lot of trouble. Good body blocks, and bonkar cleans them up.
But traded out for Bird on the Eevee, as Laizy is going to be the Cassie in this match. stolzey in the backline does have advantage from long range, but he's not finding the shots just yet. On the point is WarDoom, and he's holding his ground for now as dousupz moves in to help him defend.
Still good early game control for Matchpoint, however. 50%, 60% and rising. bonkar is actually firing shots, is not regenerating out of combat, and will end up falling if he tries to engage. Picks up a quick kill on the Smidgen, however, but it's collapsed upon by Buck. dousupz getting credit for that kill. Matchpoint, this is what we were waiting for, finally coming out strong, uncontested, early 1-0 lead.
I actually love the way Kus is playing Buck so far. He's using that aggression and mobility to keep going in on his opponents, using cover here between his cooldowns, but missing that net shot. He's going to want to back off. In the front line, though, dousupz defending this capture point, and Matchpoint actually being pushed back.
And I think what's really important about Kusqt, going back to them just for a second, is look at the itemization from Burrito Esports so far. It's all blue. There is no anti-heal, so Kusqt has free reign of recovery still, with the exception of Cassie's blast shot, providing 50% anti-heal, and that allows Kusqt to be so tanky if they go in for the assassination.
That's not going to last forever, though, so Matchpoint need to take advantage of this round. On the right side is Burrito grouping up, and Matchpoint not able to get to the payload cart right now. They need to respawn, group up, and go in as Laizy is pushing very far forward, but he's going to find himself next to Fernando.
Taking a fireball dodge roll cooldown reset, not going to be active because that shot hit a shield out of dodge roll first of all. Kusqt trying to make a play, is not finding anybody so far, and Thiel's already taken out Smidgen, but is stolzey the saving grace? I don't think so. Bonkar comes in with a vengeance, picks up one. Can they find a second, or will Laizy be able to make a defense here as they hammer down shots onto WarDoom? Kusqt is looking for Bonkar in the air. They're trading out very well, but still can't find the kill.
That's right, not able to find the kill just yet, but jumping in and getting it there. Buck Wild used to push Makoa back and dealing so much damage with the shotgun, doubling his ability to kill his opponents, and now pushing forward onto the cart. Damage onto Bird on that Eevee, and Bird's gonna disengage.
43 seconds left on the payload push. Kusqt now playing a dismount roll that may have overextended as they are very quickly dismantled by Laizy. Dodge rolling off the edge immediately into the backline, lays down fire onto doesupz, not wanting that ruckus with Hexafire available to set up for the conversion.
And behind yet again, but here's the Hexafire doing a fair amount of damage, but Burrito just retreats into cover, and they're holding their ground. Repulsor Field comes out, so Matchpoint can hold their ground, and doesupz falls, but WarDoom finds the return kill onto the support from Burrito.
Is it going to be enough for the time being? However, Burrito do have the respawn proximity advantage. Kusqt looking for the kill onto Laizy. Won't find it, but WarDoom does. 3 seconds left. It's going to have to be overtime. Matchpoint have got to make a big play here. They do have the opportunity to do so. Immortal will save Smidgen. Smidgen's almost a Dread 7-2. Will they find it? About to be shut down, but still the first kill comes through from doesupz.
Dread Serpent is available and could be used here, but stolzey's finding kills regardless. Thiel is low and will fall. Bird dropping his ultimate. The Dread Serpent doesn't come out in time and will not be used, but the Fernando falls on the point and Burrito is able to defend. Smidgen attempted to use Dread Serpent, but he died before it could even fully come out. Thankfully, it was saved and will be available in the next round.
That was so close for conversion for Matchpoint, and the momentum and the morale boost they would have gained from that 2-0 would have been so important to keep them in the game. Burrito Esports able to defend, sitting on top of damage dealt, and now sitting on top of a lot of damage mitigation and reduction from the Haven itemization they're electing to go into.
But man, that Cauterize coming on board, 60% reduced healing when Bonkar and Thiel touch you with their main hand weapon. Kus might have lost his opportunity in this match, and he's going to have to really just find the right angles and get onto Laizy, who does not have Cauterize.
It now comes down to positioning play from Kusqt and the impact from Buck Wild. Almost ready at 76% charge, but Kus is immediately prioritized, forced out of the issue here as we see Thiel again going for the assassination play on the backline, pulls doesupz into the air, who is taking a lot of focus fire and gets away from the objective, away from where they can activate Repulsor Field. Matchpoint are split up and distracted here. They could be in a lot of trouble.
That's right, Bird looking around the side. Dread Serpent does come out and it's going to fear Spunkki, but he's alive for now. Smidgen actually falls and Laizy picks up stolzey, but Matchpoint is moving towards the objective, and it looks like they're going to have an opportunity to get control of it as the front line from Burrito is dead.
Oh no, but the front line from Matchpoint is also dying as well, as Bonkar sets up the kills with the Cursed Arm, and Bird hits them home. Eevee coming into play with a hyper mobility to chase around all these low HP targets and just mop them up one by one. 54%, 57 now as Burrito get back to the objective. Matchpoint have an opportunity to contest, but they've got to get there in time.
Kus finding a kill there as Bonkar was in the air. Speaking of in the air though, Eevee doing so much to disrupt and dropping that Ice Storm right on the point. The tanks can't really move. Spunkki gonna fall. Eevee low, but doesn't die just yet as Laizy picks up kill on the Kus, but it's Smidgen and he's starting to come in huge. Needs to control this Makoa as Matchpoint need to control this objective.
And you can see Smidgen playing for the team there as they slither back towards the objective. Heal up stolzey, who is eliminated by Bonkar, but buys time for the team to match up Burrito's initial capture, 84-84, and we are now in a neutral contest. The doesupz hold on to Hexafire. They shred through Bonkar, taken out by WarDoom's Afterbirth. burn. Bird will take out doesupz in response, but it's still advantage to match point at 99%. The damage comes through. Double kill to Smidgen. WarDoom cleans up the last, but Eevee is here to contest. Can Bird withstand? Ice block buys precious seconds. Overtime ticks through again, but stolzey plucks it from the air. Oh my goodness, it is the EU Conga we're seeing here. Reversal is good, but not quite good enough. And even though Thiel is here, Immortal keeps everybody alive. I don't see this going to anybody besides match point as overtime ticks down, and that is capture rolling through at last.
stolzey playing so well there, finding some great shots and pressuring back the offensive from Burrito. It's going to be yet again a capture for match point, but they're still really looking to convert here before Cauterize 3 becomes available.
doesupz will be spearheading this push, now retreating around the corner as the pressure comes through. Watch out for that reversal as bonkar does keep themselves safe, but it's quickly going to be focused down. Up into the air they go to try and escape this pressure, but still constantly around the objective with the mindset to provide shielding and protection to their team from repulsive field. doesupz will at last fall. Still though, Kusqt finding the damage.
He's got great damage as long as he does his combo right, and he's got a great opportunity to slay Bird right there. Excellent timing from Kus with a great read. Now going on to spunkki, drops the net shot, finds the kill. It's going to go to WarDoom actually. Thiel up there, but bonkar finding a kill, finding a double. doesupz then cleaning up Thiel, and it looks like match point is starting to get pushed back.
We need to pay close attention to the ultimate advantage coming through here as Burrito Esports do find a couple of kills more to clean up and hold for the time being with 1 minute and 18 left on the clock. Currently, we're sitting with advantage towards Burrito, but if matchpoint can go for a bait here on the payload push and force Burrito to use their ultimates on defense, they could gain an advantage going into the next capture.
At the very least, matchpoint needs to get Hexafire and Immortal available so they can continue to control the capture points. Buck Wild is used as Kus dives in, but he's just surrounded by members of Burrito, and I gotta say that's a misplay there. Completely demolished as he dives deep and looks for kills.
No longer so tanky as Buck, with recovery being negated by the effects of Cauterize. Buckwild must be reserved for those 1 versus 1 situations to quickly eliminate a single target or to reset cooldowns to be able to escape the fray. Kusqt must adapt their playstyle and did so earlier, but now appears to be falling back and underestimating Burrito's ability to shut down flankers, including with plays made by Bird, the flanker themselves for Burrito Esports.
That's right, as matchpoint is trying to hold this payload cart for the last 15 seconds, their front line is taken down. Round the side is Bird. He's going to help get that kill on the doesupz. Kus is here, but he's going to get cauterized, and he's going to have a bad time as Bird blinks over the wall. Burrito doesn't even need to get that kill, but they're going to find it anyway. Defense successful, 2-2 in the 4th game of this semifinal series.
We're heading into round 3 very shortly. Matchpoint took such a dominant control of the game in the beginning, but are now being forced out because the itemization choices coming through from Burrito Esports. So much Haven online for the team in blue. It's looking all blue to start the scoreboard off, and whilst that did provide an opening for Matchpoint early on, now we see Cauterize coming through and also Master Ridings. Hold that thought, Bird. What are you doing?
He's grabbed aggression, which is going to increase his damage by 5%. Realistically, it's probably not going to do too much here, but he certainly doesn't need much else. Haven 3 is enough for Eevee to get control of this game. And now Burrito Esports rides forward. It is 2-2. They want to get control of this capture point as Thiel around the right-hand side finds a hook.
But into the back line goes Bird, looking for the shutdown play on the stolzey. Finds it, dreads it, but not quite enough. Immortal used to withstand the pressure coming from Burrito. Everybody on match point is starting to crumble. Hexafire from doesupz takes down 1. Bird is far too mobile, however, gets out of the issue, and now it's up to doesupz to try and escape, but they're 1 versus 2 in the back line as Bird holds the objective and is about to take out stolzey for the 2nd time in a row if they can find the shots. Elects not to take that deal, which I think is a very wise decision.
Yeah, but stolzey pulled in his withdrawal, has a very long cooldown, and that Ice Storm allows him to die for free. Thiel on the side, going into the Ancient Rage. No one can challenge him right now as he's going to loop back around, find some cover. His team is capturing at 60%.
Matchpoint must get on. They must contest here, but as Laizy takes out Kusqt, they're already a player down. Into goes WarDoom, but no Immortal available, likely to fall. If we can see the chase down coming through from somebody, Desert Wind activated by Shaolin. They're going to be Heat Haze and Invisible here. They will be very hard to track down, and stolzey is staying alive for the time being, but the rest of their team is crumbling around them. Overtime ticks down 99% to only 9. It's all about Burrito as the late game items start to come into play.
Burrito can certainly push forward here and convert for the victory, so match point has to be careful, and they have to hold. They gotta build up those ultimates right now as Burrito is pushing through the first choke point.
And Burrito seem unstoppable as in the backline is Laizy taking the 1v3 duel now, supported by Thiel on Makoa and Bird on Eevee as they do dive into the fray. Thiel still looking for a dredge anchor angle. They got 1 second left on cooldown, but from the skies, a Cursed Arm rains down Hellfire. Bonkar on a 10 streak is 15 hit and 22, and such a force of damages in this engagement. Kusqt with Buck Wild has no impact whatsoever, and even if Thiel falls here, the payloads gain so much ground.
stolzey and doesupz do find 2 kills, and now Laizy in trouble, doesn't have dodge roll, able to just barely get it back, but he's gonna fall to WarDoom's fireball nonetheless. Spunkki gunned down by doesupz, and the payload cart is cleared, but only for a moment. Burrito will group back up, and they're gonna get back on the cart as soon as possible.
Oh, Thiel just narrowly missing an edge camp dredge anchor there. We've seen it for 2 games so far, throwing WarDoom on Fernando into the drink or off the map. Unable to do it again this game as that sundial point and area on Serpent Beach is so often avoided by frontliners just because of that reason. However, the payload pushes. Ying uses her ultimate to keep the team alive for the time being and allow them to push forwards. Bird being very, very aggressive. Looks to shut down Kusqt in combination with Bonkar, but then met by an Impaler Arrow and shut down by Smidgen. Thiel takes out doesupz, so Dredge Serpent comes through. It's looking like it could be over here.
Immortal coming out, and that's going to stabilize match point for only a moment. Cuz finds 2 kills. stolzey getting 1. Smidgen will fall, but Thiel will fall in return. And yet again, match point is able to hold. 40 seconds left, which means 1 attempt for Burrito. They still have a chance to convert, but actually Cuz finding damage onto Bonkar, didn't even realize he was there. That pick is huge. This now becomes much more difficult for Burrito to push.
They're going to try and group up actually round the backside again. Laizy playing like a flanker on Cassie is not spotted out, dropping some damage towards the objective. Still not being singled out, but must be a priority pick for match point if they want to survive. Either way, this one likely to go to overtime unless Burrito do withdraw, and it seems that that might be the choice. Oh, Thiel's the objective, has Ancient Rage available. We could see the bait and switch opportunity as the Ice Storm drops down as well. Kills going through to Burrito. doesupz find 1 in trade. Is it going to be enough to hold?
stolzey falls, and that's going to be quite big. doesupz trying to gun down the opponents. Ancient Rage still available from Makoa, though, so it's looking pretty good. The respawns are going to be critical for match point. They need to have immediate impact as the frontliners fall. So now it's all on the backline. It's all on the damage. There are a few members of Burrito here, but they're low, so this is possible, but difficult.
It certainly is, and the damage is going to come through from Kusqt with Buck Wild active, but they're shut down by Bonkar, who nether steps all around. A Cursed Arm is available, but the frontliners from Matchpoint have respawned.
And now the frontliners, they're holding, but they might not be able to hold for long. He's getting low. He's going to fall.
And that will be overtime, ticking right at the end. Smidgen there to contest, but no, shut down. Burrito Esports shut out their opponents entirely in a 4-0 sweep, and they do take the 4th game in this set to advance through to your finals. It's looking very European.
Nothing but respect between those players. You could catch stolzey's face walking over, exchanging kind words with Thiel, who was an absolutely dominant force from Burrito. All the players celebrating, hugging. There's nothing but smiles. That was such a great final game of this 2nd semifinal.
And great adaptation on the fly from Matchpoint, trying something new with their draft with the butt pickup, which is wholly necessary, but ultimately countered out by great itemization play, likely guided by the voice of Bird from Burrito, their team captain, who is issuing instruction in their ears constantly on how best to go about their itemization, their draft, taking control of the battlefield, which allowed Burrito to take full control of this set, who are now ready to face up against District 69 in the finals.
Man, speaking of Bird, that final round, he was so impactful. It was a capture, the first of the game for Burrito. Let's take a look at these stats, right? Bird was a huge impact force here because he allowed Laizy to get on the Cassie, but still maintained that harassing role.
Right, and whilst Bird wasn't topping the damage charts and their credit score wasn't the highest in game, I do feel that that is an accurate representation of the amount of distraction they were able to provide for Burrito. And you said that allowed Laizy to go over to the Cassie role, and let's see how well Laizy did on that champion, the Hunter's daughter. 39 eliminations, 11 deaths, almost the lowest on their team, and 97,000 damage for the first time now, exceeding stolzey's Charlene.
But not exceeding bonkar. 46 eliminations, 103,000 damage. The substitute player is looking like one of the best players on this team. That final round was so critical as, you know, Burrito, they couldn't control the point, right? They finally get it. They push all the way right after Bird buys aggression. Coincidence? Clearly not.
Oh boy, it would have only been better if it was Deft Hands Charlene or Deft Hands Grover in that situation. But let's talk about that aggression pickup right at the end there. Yes, you might consider it unnecessary. You could get more viability from Cauterize if it was at level 2 or higher, but if Bird right at the end of the game feels like they have credits to spend, then going for 5% extra damage versus a team that's building all into Haven for direct damage reduction allows Bird to potentially two-shot some of the carries on the side of match point. And whilst it might not have been the main deciding factor, it certainly is something to bear in mind. Aggression is not all bad.
No, it's not all bad. Burrito, though, looking all good in this semifinal. 4-0 yet again. They're going into the finals against D69, a team that they have beaten countless weeks in a row. You've got to call them the favorites, but D69 has looked so good.
They looked fantastic today in their set versus Abyss, where they did manage to beat out Abyss in less than 7 games, not the full duration of the set. And let's take a look at exactly how that panned out on the schedule, which should be available on your screen now.
Burrito 4-0 and District 69 4-1. It's been European dominance all tournament long. The hope of Australia and the hope of USA tied today, but Europe has yet to decide who is the strongest. A best-of-7 finals tomorrow will decide that. Burrito versus D69 should be something wonderful to behold.
And as you said, Burrito, with such good performance on the online setting, in the online competition, they would be your favorites going into this. But let's take a quick look, and we've seen how well District 69 performed versus Abyss, a team which took Burrito to the full 5 games in a 5-game set. Yesterday in the Group B group placement stages, District 69, they're still unmatched on LAN.
Yes, they are certainly unmatched on LAN, but Burrito was looking so sharp today. They've got some awesome footage to go over, and I think that's a big part of how this team plays, right? When they know what their opponents are doing so far, it seems like they're just ready to take advantage of them. The moment Matchpoint had done something that they hadn't seen before with the Barrack, they just, all right, they played smart, they played safe, and then they figured out what they needed to do to find the win within 1 game. They didn't need to adjust in a second game. They figured it out on the fly.
And it is that mid-match itemization and the adaptation which is so important, that deciding the outcome of these games. You've got to be able to think on your feet. You've got to be able to run with scissors and adapt on the fly. And Burrito, well, there's nobody better than that in the European scene, at least, than this top-tier squad. But from all, or at least for all of you at home watching on twitch.tv/Paladins game right now, before we close things out, we do want to remind you in time for the finals tomorrow that Twitch linking is available on the channel. And if you could guide me through that process, we've got some videos and instructions which you may have seen yesterday, but for those who missed it, what are we missing out on currently?
Go to hirezstudios.com/link, where you can link your Hi-Rez account with your Twitch account. Now, when you're watching, you're going to be able to get sweet drops in the chat that are going to help you up your game in the Paladins client.
Wow, that's a lot of swag potentially available just for watching the stream. But that's not all we've got available to you related to this event, at least. We do have a Hi-Rez Expo digital loot pack available to you in the in-game store, which contains a great deal of event-themed swag. We've got skins, some limited, some exclusive, as well as sprays and victory poses. And who are the champions that we're really looking to highlight here?
That's right, we're looking at a Fernando and Victor skin that are limited only to this event. They're commemorating the Hi-Rez Expo 2017. Speaking of which, can Convention Ying 2017 is going to be something that you're looking at all year long around the different events that we're doing. Also, especially worth mentioning, the holiday chest available in your client for the next few days, ending on January 11th. So you can pick that up while you're there.
Absolutely. It's got 10 fantastic cosmetic items in there, relating from, well, we have some weapon skins, as well as Eevee's Merrymaker skin set, which you may have seen cosplay of if you're following Paladins on social media. And if you do want to catch up with that, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook at /PaladinsGame. That's all we have time for today. However, during the semi-final set here at the Paladins Invitational at Hi-Rez Expo of 2017. My name has been Vox, joined by Hi-Rez Kret here earlier. You saw Rain Day and Pretty Hair themselves, and a big shout out and thanks to our production team who've kept this whole show rolling throughout the duration of today. Blake, I see you cheering there. And from all of us here at Hi-Rez Expo, we'll see you tomorrow for the grand finals themselves.